The Los Angeles Times plays a key role in fanning the flames, the paper of record on the West Coast. Today, the Los Angeles Times is very open and very clear about its role in this, and they've have an online exhibit. They own it. They apologize and they own it, and calling it one of the a chapter in their history that they will never live down. And basically, they frame the argument in the way that the U.S. government is going to frame it. You can see from these quotations. Basically saying it's a war, and under war, preservation of the nation's safety is the #1 duty, and normal rules don't apply. So everything has to be subordinated to that. Every necessary precaution must be taken to ensure reasonable safety from spies and saboteurs. Note that, right? There's an assumption, basically an assertion, that there are spies and saboteurs among the Japanese population, and they need to be put in a place where they can't do any harm, so that our armed forces can function adequately and our industrial machinery may continue to work free from peril. And then later, a year later, the LA Times, as people began to call for maybe releasing some Japanese Americans, they said, absolutely not. Quote, as a race, the Japanese have made for themselves a record for conscienceless treachery. That's a reference to to Pearl Harbor, unsurpassed in history. And then going on to say that, any benefit that might come from letting a few of them out is offset by the danger. So public, trusted sources like newspapers and major political figures like Earl Warren. Now, most people know this guy, Earl Warren, as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and a court that was very liberal and very, oversaw many very important civil rights decisions, in favor of racial justice and racial equality. Well, that's later. Now, in 1942, Earl Warren is in a major political office in California, and he is a leading voice for Japanese removal and pressures the federal government to do so. He says at one point, such a distribution of the Japanese population near coastal military sites appears to manifest something more than a coincidence. So he's saying, have you noticed that so many of them live near the coast, near our naval bases, near our aircraft factories? It can't be a coincidence. The Japanese population of California is, as a whole, ideally suited to carry into execution a tremendous program of sabotage on a mass scale, if any of them chose to do so. So the implicit assumption, and basically an assertion, is that they are going to do us harm unless we confine them and nullify that opportunity. And so the drumbeat becomes pretty loud. Congress picks up on it. The FDR administration picks up on it and decides, after great debate, to issue Executive Order 9066. This comes out in late February of 1942, a couple months after Pearl Harbor, and it is the executive order that calls for Japanese internment. It doesn't say the Japanese, it just simply refers to I'll show you the actual text. It says, it empowers the military structure out in the West Coast to declare any areas sensitive and to remove any or all persons from this particular region. Now, that's pretty vague, but it's exclusively aimed at Japanese Americans, and so that's going to be what occurs. And so the posters go up all over California and in Japanese American communities, telling them they have to register and that they need to prepare to be relocated. A lot of great Orwellian language employed in this in order to do this great violation of civil liberties in a context that says it's okay. It's not at odds with our democratic traditions.